Hello, this is Bob Brockway. We're going to make a video of ion thruster, November 29th, 2010. This is excuse me a minute, need my pointer. It's a 4-inch thruster. It's the largest one that I operate. It's built of the same construction methods as the 3-inch, except that I have paper lamination on both sides of the aluminum. The aluminum is in between the two paper on the outer cone. Same is true on there's a second emitter. This is a positive. This second emitter inside, 2-inch, a little over 2-inch, is a negative, and inside that is the pulse generator. I'm using my largest grounding system. Notice I use a much heavier wire here. The same spacing between this edge of the emitter and the edge of the ground unit is 6 inches. I can get it up, and it will get up to 20 RPM, about roughly 22 inches a second. We'll give it a try here. We're running at 42% humidity, and which is pretty dry, but it gives us a good generator, works well. Let's see if it's gonna like it. It's rotating, it's starting to rotate. This outperforms all the other large ones I've had. Other 4-inch different designs. I've had 5-inch. That is the absolute largest. I could never get them over between 12 and 15 RPM. Now, this one actually performs the best. It doesn't weigh. It has a pretty good heft to it. It's 40 ounces of 40 grams of counterbalance, because it is a heavier unit, being more massive. But for its size, it works quite well. Starts on by itself. And because the much larger emitter surfaces, it holds a larger charge, and that can only be interpreted as it converts to being such a high potential that leakage is critical on these. At the dry weather, the leakage is pretty low. I tried keeping it tightened up, but when I do get a leak on this particular size, it's generally a class 3 spark over, so I'm not getting any of that today. We're up to 20 RPM now. Just about. Yeah, it might be a little less. It's better than 15. So it's almost up. It's around 22 inches a second on the velocity, which is the highest velocity I've ever been able to attain in this large of an engine. So I'm quite pleased with that, and I'm not getting a lot of power loss. I always get some, but I'm not getting anything that is noticeable to the ear or visual. Usually you'll hear a crackling sound. Now, it's not uncommon to hear a buzzing. If you get your ear close enough to the emitter, you will. You can see this little paper charges up, how it bends. It'll deflect because it's like charges. Then it pulls down when it gets to the passes the ground. The ground passes it. But you'll see that there's a charge in the front of the cone. At least there's a field. And that can cause you problems, because if you get any real ion emissions of any strength coming out the front, not only does it affect the performance, it can actually stop it or reverse it. But I'm not getting enough. I'm getting most of the ion emissions, if not all of it, is going toward the ground, which is giving it direction. And you can see that the field effect is quite a ways away, the ion effect. You can be, I don't know if you're getting it, but the electroscope jars are being affected by it. Yeah, I was just checking to make sure I was having trouble. I thought I was having trouble with the video camera, but it seems to be working just fine. Well, anyhow, I've never recorded this first recording of any video that I have of this large of a ion engine, and actually it's performing quite well, and it's steady. It's just running just below 3 RPM, so I'm gonna that's really good. That's about as good as I've ever done with this size engine. Well, I'm going to shut the generator off and let it coast down. It generally it'll coast for about 5 RPM before it comes to a stop. And there's 3. I use the coast down as a guide on how much thrust or how much power I can put in getting out of the unit. So we're going to stop that, and it's not bad at all.